backstory is, where do I focus to get the best leads? Where do I focus to get the best traffic? Where am I focusing right now to grow profitably? What is the best funnel to be using? What is the best market to be in? And I don't know about you, but that's a lot of spinning plates, a lot of confusion in the marketplace. Now, I'll give you a little bit of backdrop here in a second and tell you how I came to this topic today, and give you a little bit of insight into that. We have a couple guest speakers coming on today. They're wrapping up some meetings. One of them is one of the best Facebook ads guys on the planet. And so he's kind enough to, actually two of them are, and I may have a third. So I just thought about that. So stick with us throughout the entire show. One has a certain way of utilizing Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and then retargeting even with YouTube to grow businesses. He's really a savant. And then my other buddy spends a lot of time in some B2B, so business to business, and a lot of direct to consumer. So he's going to have a different perspective on traffic and offers. And then I have another friend who runs local live events in every single state in the country. And so he's going to try and jump on as well to share what's working with them. They use direct mail. They use Facebook and Instagram as well, along with, guess what? You wouldn't believe it, pay-per-click. Okay. So if you don't know who I am, let me give you a little bit backdrop. My name is Ed O'Keefe. I have been an entrepreneur for 25 years and founder of a lot of different events. One of them is Traffic Mastery Live, Influencer Mastery Live. Wrote the book Time Collapsing, The Art of Speed, Power, Money, and Meaning. And over the last few years, especially without boring you on all my backdrop, I started another company called Offer Wingman. So you could go in the description, you could see what we do at offerwingman.com. In 30 seconds or less, is I help experts, entrepreneurs who want to grow their business, craft even better offers, and then use language, meaning help them get their message dialed in to sell. So we have a lot of cool things coming out, and the description is in that. You can check it out. Some free stuff is in there as well. So here's kind of the backstory as to today's training. So what happened was I launched another product called Micro Event Profits. Now, let me tell you why I think it's one of the best things you can do in a business to grow. And I'm charging $27. It is worth a lot more than $27. But nowadays, what I'm finding is high ticket is harder and harder to sell straight to it. And so what I've also found is, and this is kind of just, I'm giving you some of my opinion before I bring on some of my friends to share their opinion, is what I found is that even from my own buying behavior, you tell me, you can comment in the links below. In my own buying behavior is, if I find somebody who I believe can help me, and they have demonstrated that they're doing something different than what I've tried, they instantly elevate above other people in the same space. Does that make sense? And so very specifically on this, if I look at any mastermind I've ever joined, okay, any mastermind or coaching club or advanced training that I've ever joined, usually I have the ability of getting access to those trainings absolutely free. Just friends can send them to me, whatever it might look like, and I'm not afraid to spend money to get access and to be a part of something. But the last thing I want to do is spend money on somebody that hasn't demonstrated that, like, is this guy or gal know what they're talking about? And so your prospects are thinking the same thing about you, by the way. They're wondering, like, well, because you may be wondering, I don't know, I spoke at an event 2 weeks ago. You may be wondering, well, why is it that people who are less qualified, they're not as good as what I do? They're, why are they getting all the clients or customers or patients or cases, but I'm not? And it always comes down to they're demonstrating their capacity to help people and solve a problem better than you are. And that's why we have marketing, and that's why we do advertising. And then that's why we also create branding around a person, you, in order to help them sell more, right? So the funny story was I was like, well, one of the best ways to do that, in my opinion, and in my experience, right, is what I call micro events. and even live events. Okay. But the reason why I call them micro events is because there were two questions that kept coming to me. And this is where I want your feedback, right? And it goes to the point of like, what's more important, traffic or the offer? Is the question that kept coming back to me was, Ed, I can't run an event. I can't do that because I don't have a big enough audience yet. Okay. Now that might be an accurate objection or it might not be. Okay. But there's a solution for everything, right? You can grow your audience, a million ways to do that. We'll talk about some of it today. But one of my immediate responses was, great, you run a micro event. And what I mean by a micro event, just to kind of give you an idea, guys, is what I found was when I was growing Dentist Profits, I was 25 years old, 26 years old, I licensed the rights to sell somebody else's course in dentistry. The reason I did that is because I didn't have a course and I had never really created a course on how to grow a business. And I really didn't know what I was doing. I was naive, young, but I was learning copywriting, loved marketing, fell in love with it. And I truly believed I could help them. Okay. And if you probably have the same experience, if you're watching this, like there's people you believe you can truly help and solve a problem for. And I believe that, right? So I scrounged up the money, figured out how to do it. And I invested in this licensing program where I had mentors with it. It was great. So I could leapfrog, another principle I teach in my book. And I have a couple of videos on it on my channel. But what I always teach is you got to find a mentor, you got to find a model. And if you don't have what you currently have, you either got to borrow it, acquire it, or learn it. And there's nothing faster than to acquiring assets from somebody else that are sitting there, right? And so I did that. Now, when I went into dentistry, it took me a little while, but I'm giving you a little bit of the backstory because it makes sense and it'll come full circle. We knew who our ideal client, well, no, actually, let me back up. We thought we knew who our ideal client was going to be. Okay. My offer, so I had my client, my ideal dream client, level 10 client that we thought was going to be the level 10 client. This is really important to just make a note of, especially since today we're talking about like what's better, traffic or the offer. I didn't put in the title of this, the market. And usually you don't create an offer unless you know who the market is, right? But when you license a product that is selling somewhere else, the assumption is that it's already proven, okay? Like the assumption is, and this is one of the best ways to get models to follow if there's no model in your exact industry, like no one's doing it exactly the way they're doing it over here. Easy example is a guy was doing extremely well in chiropractic. We were looking at going into a market, and so I chose dentistry. I can go in more in depth if you like. You can put in depth in the comments if you like for me to go in depth on how I chose dentistry. And I assumed, we made a presumption based on an educated guess that this was here and working. So the market was buying that offer, that if we replicated the offer and went into a different market that had similarities into the market, we would be able to replicate the results, okay? Now, some of that was true, some of it was far off, and I'll explain that in a minute, which goes to media and traffic, right? And well, I'll tell it to you right now. So what we found was that the lead cost in chiropractic was exponentially, I'm like spitting out loud, exponentially less expensive than what I was experiencing in dentistry, okay? And so while Ben was the guy, he was great. I'm a great guy. While he was in that market, I'm just removing, I don't know what I'm doing here. Let's see here. Show comments on stage. Okay, so I have comments on stage if you guys want to check that out. But what Ben was doing in chiropractic and moved over to dentistry, right? So I entered a very competitive market and it grew. Now, for today's purpose, let me stick to this, micro events. So what I found was we were selling a course in that the best way to move people from $1,000, $797 buyer, $2,100 buyer, because that's what I was selling my course for through direct mail. We'd lead gen and then we'd send them a long sales letter. Today's example might be they buy something small, is to invite them to an event. And I charged $97 for the live event. Okay. It was a one-day event, $97. Now, as you can imagine, it was not designed to be a big moneymaker on the tuition to get into the thing. But here's what I want you to write down. Which I want you to write down is that the amount of people that upgraded into my $15,000, $18,000, or $30,000 a year program was about 40% of the people who attended it, probably more than that. And so if you do the math on that, say we made a little bit of money, we broke even on the first sale, they come to a live event, maybe it cost me 25, lost 25 bucks or whatever it might be. Maybe I made 25 bucks on the $97 for the day. And then 40% of the people end up buying your big ticket. It's an incredible ROI. Okay. And what I found is that most people don't look at their Facebook ads or their Instagram ads or their return on ad spend directly related all the way across the channel to who ascends and what did they first click on and what did they first buy and how do they do that. And the problem is if media buying is separate than the full picture of the business, the media buyers or the agency is going to cut those ads and say, well, they're not profitable. Quick example. 2 weeks ago, this past week, we have an event coming up. It's $3,000. It's 2 days. It's how to sell from the platform, right? How to sell through Zoom calls, virtual or in person. And if somebody has a $5,000, $3,000, $5,000, $50,000 course, they're going to make their money back 100 times from that. It's just it's a no-brainer for them. Okay. Now that's not why I'm sharing that. Why I'm sharing that is we had a sale come in. And what I did is I went back and looked at what did he originally purchase, okay? Because now a few months have gone by. And what he originally purchased was a $7 micro training. You can call it a micro event even because it's just me doing a training just like I'm doing right now for you. And it was $7. And so this guy came in, great guy, Mike's his name. He's going to do very well with the program. Is he clicked on the link, bought the private consultation at a discount with me, and then I didn't hear from him for a month and a half, 2 months. We promo out a live event, which now that we have the live event and I'm seeing that pathway, how quickly guys are doing it, it should have been offered to him right away, but I didn't have it at the time. So you look at it, say that ad set was losing money on paper or in the dashboard. Now all of a sudden that ad set is actually making money, right? And so really quickly you took something that wasn't profitable and boom, it's super profitable. And you're like, man, we should have never stopped running that offer. Now that we have this offer. And then what I would ask a client to do is go, okay, what else could we put in your arsenal of offers so that we have more opportunities for this type of buyer to buy? Because not everybody's going to want to learn how to sell through virtual Zoom, even though they should. It's going to be a superpower, probably the most important skill, with the exception. Actually, I don't know if with the exception of being in person and selling one to many. Okay, because those are superpowers now. People are awful at it. They don't know how to do it. Okay, that's not a judgment. That's just a fact based on me watching the last few events I've gone to where people don't know how to speak on stage. And they definitely don't know how to sell their services elegantly. So they come across like good trainers and then they start baffling up their speech, right? And I'm not being judgmental, guys. I'm just letting you know that Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi had 800,000 people on a virtual event 2 weeks ago. Now, can we do that? Not likely, to be honest with you, to be direct with you. But who cares if we can get 2 to 10 people on it and you get 3 to 4 buy your $5,000 thing? You're way ahead of 90% of the population. And so that's where I get super excited about. You got to, learning how to do this is just a skill set. Learning how to sell elegantly is a way of telling stories that get people to buy in and shatter their limiting belief systems and adopt new belief systems that inspires them to get clarity so that they want to invest in you, okay? Or no, in themselves, in you and your path and plan you're doing. That's why we pride ourselves on training people on how to do this the right way and how to do it in a really elegant way, okay? So I share all that because when we launched the micro event training, let me throw in a link here real quick so everyone can see what I'm talking about. When I threw in the micro event training, that, let me push that back, create banner, which you can get at offerwingman.com. Actually, this is Event Mastery. This is the event we're doing at the end of July. See if that works. And then I'm going to pull up the other one. I just got to make sure we have the right, link for you, and I'll throw it in the things. But the reason I share that with you is because the number one question, who can guess what the number one question was that came in? Go ahead and put in the comments what you think the question was when I came out with how to sell out your high ticket or low ticket or grow your business. So if you're a dentist, a lawyer, I work with these types of clients all the time. If you're a professional, a local professional, you should be running, oh, Eric's in the building. You should be running, give me 1 second, Eric, I'm pulling you up, brother. Eric's one of the best media buyers in the world. But you should be running micro events because the reason you should be running micro events is that people need to have an experience that you know what they're talking about. Now, whether that's done one-on-one, where you're good at sales, the problem is it's not scalable. The other problem is that people are cats. And what I mean by cats are, majority of people are cats. Some people like getting on the phone call and being sold. The majority of people nowadays, and Eric, you can unmute yourself, brother, and you can chime in if, I unmuted you, brother. I'm going to introduce you in 30 seconds. I want to finish my cat story. And I don't have any cats. I wouldn't buy any cats. I've seen 3 dogs. Dogs are amazing. They jump all over. I'm a dog person. You can put on personality. I'm the type of person that will come up to you, give you a hug, tell you you're amazing. You're supposed to tell me I'm amazing, and we're all going to feel better after we all feel amazing. Cats are not like that. Now, cats, when I learned accelerated learning, the C is actually a K when you look at it. They're usually more auditory. A few other guess or what does a cat do? They circle the party. And only when the cat is ready, it's super important. Only when the cat is ready, it'll rub its head and its neck along your leg, and it'll come out of anywhere. And if you're allergic, you're in a bad spot right there. But now the cat knows, the cat decides on when to move closer, okay? The reason I share this is that if you're not utilizing, or actually, let me frame it differently. When you decide to utilize social media, not only as a traffic partner, but as a sales partner, because it's edifying your brand and allowing you to demonstrate across multiple means, you're going to get a lot more of your audience coming towards you, seeing you as the number one authority in that space, okay? And what I demonstrated in dentistry is we get a purchase, they come to a live event, a micro event, and then they descend. Because they're like, okay, validation point number 2, validation point number 2. They feel more certainty in their gut, and now they purchase. Okay, they could see the path clearer. We online can do that through Zoom calls, through StreamYard, through YouTube, through Facebook, through Instagram, X, and even TikTok. So it's a new world now. I didn't have that when I started when I was 25. We have this today. So, hey, really quick, let me introduce. What's up, Eric?
Hey, man. Good to see you.
Can you hear me? Okay, good.
I can hear you.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. So, hey, dude. So this is kind of a spontaneous thing. I didn't finish my thoughts to the audience, which was when I announced a new product we just launched called micro event profits. The number one question I kept getting was, how do I fill my event? How do I fill my event? And so it's so funny how that is what everyone's fear is the lead generation. But this reminds me, when we ran Traffic Mastery Live, I don't know if we were friends back in the day when I ran Traffic Mastery Live, were we?
We may have been friends, but I don't think that we were chatting a lot about it.
Yeah, you didn't speak on it. I would have had you speak at it. So Eric Carlson's a good friend of mine. We've worked together on a professional level. We've been long-term friends. Whenever I have questions on ads, on traffic, I call Eric. So Eric, why don't you give everybody like just a 30-second background, and then I'm going to start popping questions about what do you think about the state of traffic right now and any suggestions for my audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So a little background on me. I run an agency called the Sweatpants Agency. And our kind of claim to fame is we are behind two Inc. #1 fastest growing brands from scratch. So if you're familiar with Inc. List, every year they post the top 500 fastest growing private companies. Well, we've been #1 twice with brands that started from zero. One was in B2B and one was in B2C. A lot of the traffic that we generate is through Meta. And a lot of the reasons that we do that is Meta just has a big audience between Instagram and Facebook. And interestingly enough, even if you're in B2B, Meta can often be cheaper than even like a LinkedIn. Our ad spend per month is probably somewhere between about 3 to 5 million, kind of depending on seasonality. But yeah, and then we have some cold email experience from some of my previous businesses too.
So, so you guys are, I know you're behind the scenes on it. So what are you, I mean, you're talking to a lot. Oh, here's Drew M. What social sites can I advertise for options trading? I'll get to that in a second, Drew. Thank you. I finally can see the comments. This is great. I'm learning. I'm getting better at this YouTube going live thing every day. So what are the questions I guess here's it, like, let me just grill you. Like, what are the most common questions you're getting from clients or prospective clients? And what are your most common answers? Like, what are some misconceptions and what's some advice? I know you're only here for like 10 to 12 minutes, but so just dive right in and give your best stuff away. I got your link up there. You look amazing.
Sure. So, I mean, when we think about events, for example, I don't know, is the majority of the audience here B2B? What is some of the products?
Yeah, so a lot of guys who follow me are usually experts of some sorts, entrepreneurs. So a lot of guys, you got guys who run masterminds, but we also have our a lot of my friends and fans, like, so Drew M just posts B2C. I mean, I was in the supplement space for so many years that I still have so many people. So give me your thoughts. I mean, because I know you do both. You drive traffic to your own B2B, and you also drive a lot of D2C,
Correct. So, I mean, again, it kind of depends on some of the audiences that you're going after. But I mean, again, I would honestly favor Meta if you're not doing, let's say, like a JV, or you're doing some cold email and things like that. Just because it is one of the biggest platforms out there. It's easy to scale up. It's easy to scale down. And, when it comes to lead gen, a lot of people worry about, is my audience there, right? And what I can tell you is that the audience is there, just sometimes you need a little bit of help, right? So if I was in, say, a very niche B2B type audience, I would either look to basically scrape data so that I can go ahead and upload that data to go after people. Or what I would end up doing is using a tool like Deep Sync Labs. And the way that Deep Sync Labs works, and you can sign up for free, is they'll port data over to your ad account where you can target people. And it has basically everything that you can imagine. You can go after any, they have TransUnion data, they have Experian data, they have all this other type of, credit card data. And they also have stuff based on like SMB decision makers and things like that. So yes, you can target those audiences. The other thing that I would say too is a lot of people worry about like lead quality and things like that, right? And what I would say is that there's a lot of things that you can do to improve your lead quality, right? Coming from Meta. So let's say that you have a good identifier for what a qualified lead is. Yeah. Well, one of the things that we like to do is we like to only fire our Facebook pixel if someone is qualified. So what this does is it sends signals back to Facebook.
This is actually this is an advanced tip, everybody. So this is because this would be the concern, because I get it right now, like the concern people are having is like, I get such crappy data from Facebook or what's the best mechanism. And so, you're saying you can actually optimize only for your highest quality lead data. So go ahead and expand on that, brother.
So what we end up doing is, let's say that we took somebody through like a type form, for example, where it's like multi-question quiz or things like that. Well, at the end of it, I can basically control what outcome they have, right? So do I send them to thank you page A or thank you page B? Yeah. Let's say thank you page A is the qualified page. I would only fire my lead pixel or complete registration pixel or whatever the pixel is on that page, because what that does is it helps train Facebook to find more people like that. And I can tell you that kind of the first time that we saw this, we actually were doing a car trade-in app, and we were getting leads for really cheap. But the majority of the leads that came in were under 650 credit score. And that really didn't matter to us. So it was about 80% of the leads coming from 650. The minute we changed the pixel to only fire when people were above 650, it completely inversed. It was about 78% ended up being qualified and prime versus subprime. And we've done this in B2B niches, and we've done this in other niches. And what ends up happening is you may not see that same full inverse, but you're going to see the lead quality definitely go up.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I was listening to a training by Jeremy, I think it's Haynes. I want to give credit where credit's due, on YouTube, where he was talking about how, like, just even with a B2B call funnel, the sales reps after the close actually will fire the pixel, or they'll send the person to a certain link, which fires that pixel instead of, I believe that's the mechanism. I don't want to screw anyone up, but it's to send back good quality data to the algorithms. Yeah.
So that helps probably more from a reporting sense than an optimization sense. And the reason I say that is you want data to get back to Facebook as quickly as possible. And you don't want to really fall outside that 7-day window. And the truth is like some of your, you know, we work with a newsletter that does a lot of different deals in the SMB space. So if you're looking to buy a business, they have a newsletter. In that newsletter, they share some of the top deals that you can buy businesses with. And then they have programs on the back end. And what's really interesting is we basically found that the median time for somebody to actually sign up for the high ticket product was about 37 days, right? And this is the thing that's really interesting. And sometimes, you know, depending on the way that you want to design things, you can still get a very like predictable outcome, but it might be that your buyers that you really want, the ones that are easy to close, the ones that are going to be good buyers, they're people that are going to go ahead and make that decision a little bit later, right? And so that's something that comes to mind when we're talking about like firing an event at the end of the sales call, right? So like you were to fire that, fall outside the 7-day window, and also you're not necessarily finding the people that were a little bit more patient and potentially even better buyers, right? Because there's a mix. There's going to be the people that respond right away. And typically the people that respond right away, don't get me wrong, money's still green. They usually have a little bit more being impulsive, and or they have a bigger pain point, right? So like when I think of like my B2B, and again, every niche is different. In the agency world, if we run ads on like Facebook and we get leads in that same day, it's usually not the best clients, to be honest with you, because those are the people that are looking at this problem and they haven't researched their different solutions to these problems. But when we run AdWords, we bring in a lot of people that are researching these problems, and then we retarget them with Facebook, and we stay in front of them until their decision period comes up and remind them that we're there all the time. So, yeah.
Okay, so just in the last few minutes we have together, I know I appreciate you jumping in here in the middle of your workday. What else, if you're going to give like 2 tips to everybody watching, like of where your focus is over the next summer, moving into Q3, is there any main focus that you would just suggest or recommend to your clients or business owners right now? And give me some good news, because I know like we're just being inundated with a bunch of crap in the news. So what's the encouragement? And even if there's caution, you know, feel free to share it, but just, it's got to be in a strategical way. So we're moving people towards a brighter future.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, I do think the future's bright, right? And if I look at some of these ad platforms, Meta's had its challenges, right, during different periods of time, but it's gotten way better at reporting. It's gotten way better at basically identifying the right audience based on your creative. So like even when you do your creative, think about how your creative calls out your audience and their pain points, because Facebook's very good at finding those responders and people contextually that match that. In fact, Meta just did a presentation where they actually tag things inside of your creative, even if it's a video, to kind of help with targeting and identify people, right? And so really think about that on your creative side. And then the other side of it too is, a lot of people, there's bad news and all this other stuff that people think about, but the truth is that most bad news is very temporary. I mean, listen, if we go back to COVID, everybody thought it was bad news.
Yeah, right now, like Elon and Trump are fighting each other. In a week, they're going to be holding hands at like Mar-a-Lago or something. I know it's going to happen.
100%. So I think sometimes people lose a little bit of patience. And the truth is that I invest a lot in like the stock market, and I always look at like a lot of the money that I earn in the stock market is because of patience. When people capitulate over news cycles, that the pain only lasts for 2 to 4 weeks. So, just have a little bit more patience. But these ad platforms, Facebook, since the iOS issues, got much better. Its attributions got much better. There's plenty of inventory on there. So, I wouldn't sweat it too much. Honestly, I think a lot of when I hear people being negative, the pessimists, first of all, I think there's an old phrase of pessimists get to be right and optimists get to be rich, right? And so I'd much rather live in the world of optimism. And the truth is that there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic.
Yeah, I love it, brother. One last question before I move forward. Is there any advice or thoughts on like what markets is there any markets, not like in the market, but like any niches or industries that you would be focusing more on or less on? I mean, I can tell you a couple that are just flat as a dead person, but
I'm curious. What are some of the ones that you're thinking?
Well, I think just right now, real estate agents are having a hell of a time. Banks are having a hell of a time. I mean, yeah, there's some transactions there, but it's not like it's not booming. And that's Daniel Priestley, who he kind of inspired me to do this talk today, which was about, he was talking about like all businesses fall or trickle down from lead generation. Like if you're not generating leads or traffic, you don't have a business. You're going to, and one of the things I want to share with everybody is like, if you focus only on one channel and one channel only, you're one change from things from being bad. But the other thing on, I think where a lot of people right now, like especially in like the high ticket space, man, like it's just changed. The game's changed a bit. Like people are not, it's not like 6 years ago where everyone was booming. So they were happy to spend 5K, 10K left and right. But I do feel like live events are coming back, and I do feel that people are looking for engagement and relationship at a higher level than ever before. Maybe not ever before, but you know what I mean? And like five years we were locked up, except you guys down in Tennessee and the people in Florida and South Carolina, Chicago, they you were in jail if you lived here. So, people are trying to, thanks, Eric. People are, Eric showed me that link's not working. I must have posted the wrong link. But people are just being, I think like they want community again. They want tribes again. They want trust again. And so we have a trust efficient AI. Everyone's going to AI. Oh, I mean, so that's what I'm seeing. But I think there's a lot of good news out of that. I think there's a lot of opportunity for thought leadership and ability to help people. So what are your, before you have to bounce, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, lot to go through, but you were mentioning like the real estate agents and stuff like that. Listen, at certain times your product's going to be a little less attractive, right? When the rates are high, they're going to be less attractive. But the truth is like you can capitulate and say, you know what, I give up. Or you can go ahead and use this as time to actually be the signal when there's very little noise, right? Because
everyone should write that down. Yep.
because ultimately, like, even if you look at like McKinsey did a study looking at like public companies that actually went ahead and increased spending during periods of recession. And what they ended up finding is that if you look at it on a 6-year basis, not only did they end up earning more money in that first year by deploying capital, but they eventually made even more throughout an entire 6-year period. If you think about Kellogg's versus Post, right? Post was this #1 cereal during the Great Depression, and nobody thought that anybody had a chance to take them on. But Post pulled back advertising during the Great Depression, and Kellogg, this upstart, ended up pushing its advertising during that period of time. So, like, this is the period where if there's less noise in the market because, let's say people are saying it's a little bit more of a struggle, well, it's a great time to be that leader and that voice and something that stands out in the market. The other thing too is, we spoke about optimism, but like, if I'm trying to be an authority in this space, you need to look at almost cult leaders in some ways, right? And I hate to use the analogy, but like, you want to be optimistic. You want to look to the future. You want to give people, a solution for the future. You want to throw stones at your enemies. You want to do these things. I think Blair Warden wrote out a lot of these principles, but this is a great time to go ahead and do it, even if it's in a bad time. I love that 71%. I mean, it's probably very true, but ultimately, like, listen, what do you do? Or should they go and get another job, or should they go out there and actually go ahead and build relationships right now?
And provide. No, I mean, like, are you? Well, I think that's where personal branding comes in. I think that's where information marketing comes in, and But my point on that is, if you're selling to those markets, like if you have a market that's not in a demand market, like they're not demanding what you're offering, you got to quickly figure something out. There's a couple markets. Let me go through a couple just since I brought it up. Like gold booming. Where's my camera there? Gold, asset protection, credit repair, funding. Those are all super strong right now. So in BizOp, like I looked at a thing yesterday where they're teaching people how to arbitrage books, and it's a booming offer right now.
It's easier than ever to write a book.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? So it's just interesting. And there was a guy who reached out to me, a friend who's got an offer in the they're in the I don't want to give away offers, so I'll just give like kind of things, but it was like, we'll help you get out of your timeshare, right?
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't say that's booming, like they have challenges with it. But one of the ideas I gave them is I said, if somebody's looking to get out of their timeshare, they're looking to free up cash flow. So why aren't you taking your leads, right? So say you're only getting a 1 or 3% conversion rate. That means you got 97 people who are looking to free up cash flow. You take those leads, and then you either JV with what are the 10 hottest ROI offers on helping moms at home add $3,000 or $1,000 or $2,000 or $10,000 to their bank account. Like my niece Kathleen does an amazing job of helping moms review products at home and make an extra few $1,000, and she's been just killing it the last 3 or 4 years. So shout out to her.
It makes a ton of sense.
It
makes a ton of sense because honestly, like, you're helping subsidize your marketing, right? Especially if, like, let's say that you're having trouble selling your core product, right? You're helping subsidize your marketing by doing that. And, I think there was a question about like the options trading and stuff like that. You probably can advertise on all sites, but if you change your approach, right? Yeah. Meaning like, if I look at something like that, Facebook obviously has a lot of rules about option trading and things like that. But, there's people building trust based on micro events, people building trust based on doing newsletters and things like that are more approachable that you can run on some of these platforms. And, when you were mentioning some of the JV deals that help fund the payment of your advertising dollars or just, getting your return in general, if I was to run a newsletter, let's say, I can also find sponsors for that to go ahead and help pay for my advertising on my newsletter too. And I'm still bringing people in to know me and see my core offers, as well as
Right.
potentially make money on some of the JV deals. So, there's a lot of different ways to approach things, but, especially during periods like this, it's about building trust. And a lot of times, maybe it's about building long-term relationships. When we ran influencers back in the day, we found the best influencers to be reality stars. And what I found is, it's because it's basically something where you're committed to a person over multiple episodes, multiple seasons, right? Whereas if I look at like some of the people that, on our side come in on the agency side, we want people to have a long-term relationship with us, because when their decision window does come up, they're going to be our best clients. It's not necessarily the ones that respond right away and have a high pain point. So lots of ways to approach this, but, I would say giving up is definitely never the answer to probably just about anything.
Yeah, just about anything. In that there's options and there's opportunities, right? All right, brother. Well, hey, you've been on. Actually, that means the one that you and I talked about this about a month ago. We were talking about leveraging other people's, like, sponsors are trying to get at. Who else is trying to get access to your potential buyer? Maybe go to them and be like, look, I'm running a live event, I'm running a micro event, I'm running whatever, I'm running a newsletter, and I'm looking for sponsors. Did you want to have access to my new, that gives you 15, 20 minutes to pitch your stuff on stage. There's a lot of businesses, especially like if they're software companies, if they're booming, who's booming right now that could go help you acquire your clients, right? So Sweatpants Agency, my main man, Eric Carlson, you guys check him out. He came on last minute just because I was like, hey, we're going to do this thing on traffic. And he hasn't even talked about how to, if you're in e-com especially, reach out to him. If you need help with email marketing as well, reach out to them, because they do amazing done for you email. So thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
It.
All right, you're the
Take
best.
care, man. Good seeing you. Bye.
All right, likewise. All right, bye. So anyway, I love these live streams because we could bring on people like my friends. I could reach out to them instead of doing like a side conversation. If you guys like this, say I like it, and I like it. Let me know what questions or who you want me to bring on, or what topic you want me to bring on. So that was the reason for the micro event conversation, right? Like about, hey, it's the best way to ascend clients, and in my opinion, and I think it's back. Get people in there. People are desperately looking for who to trust, and one of the best ways to help people know who to trust is to help save them from danger. Okay, and so I'm demonstrating this a little bit right now, guys. Like, I'm demonstrating this not just to get clients, because I'd love for you to be a client if I can help you grow your business, but because I'm asking the same questions, right? Have you ever, I don't know, I'm going to share a personal story here, but have you ever, you go down a lane in your business and you get blinders on, you start focusing on the business, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't work, or things aren't working, or you feel like you just keep hitting your head against the wall. And I've done this in my lifetime many, many times, right? And when they say, like in the book Great by Choice by Jim Collins, he talks about how the number one destruction of a business is hubris. It's when the CEO or founder starts believing that they become untouchable, they can't make an error, and then they just start doing multiple things. When I read that, I was like, oh yeah, I get that. But I didn't get that, right? Until I launched a business that completely failed. And during that time frame, I lost touch of like, what were people doing outside of that? And can you relate to that at all? And so what usually happens is, if markets change, traffic changes, what's working in the market changes. What's old always becomes new, but that also means what was new 6 months ago becomes old. And trying to figure all that out can get really, really frustrating. Okay. And so one of the things that Daniel Priestley talked about on a fail-proof way to launch a new offer, a new product, a new business is, and I want to share this today because I'm going to share what it was, but I'm also going to share where I would recommend starting, okay? And where I'm starting, or some of the things we're testing now, is he talks about doing a simple poll with a wait list. And he'll do something you got to check out his book. I think it's called it's called, Becoming a Key Person of Influence. But he talked about like to ask the poll of like, are you ready to scale your business? Here's 12 questions to let us know if you're ready or not. And then one of the questions in the poll would be, would you be more interested in learning how to scale with direct mail, email, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, or whatever it might be? And then you start looking at what are people asking to get more of, okay? And then I recommend doing that with who you believe your ideal clients are and who your ideal people are, right? And so while I love testing with Facebook, Instagram, I love testing with email and past clients or who I think are the best buyers. And when people say to me, like, Ed, I don't have an audience, the first thing I do is say, like, well, hold on, stop yourself. If you went into your phone and if we went down your Facebook feed and then we went into your LinkedIn and we just said, hey, let's just start grabbing people who your ideal clients are, you have the beginnings of your audience, okay? Now, I'm not going to go in depth on how to actually do reach outs, how to do email. But what I will say to you is that you can very, very quickly get feedback. Drew goes, I used to live in Chicago, Nita Fox's pizza so bad. Yeah, I hear you, Drew. I hear you. They probably need you too. But what I would find is that, the more that I started moving towards stuff and doing stuff, whether it's just holding a $97 event, a $5,000 event, a $30 event, whatever it might be, I start getting the questions that start coming in from actual buyers or potential buyers. And that's always where you find your best buyers from. Okay. Now, my story was in dentistry. Remember earlier when I was saying we would run events, sell them into our bigger event or sell them into our coaching club. What I quickly found out was that dental implant docs were my best clients. And so we then we shifted and repositioned things to very, very quickly have a licensing program only for dental implant docs. And so what I was able to do is very quickly is put pillar number 2, because pillar number 1 was the course. Then we do a micro event, which wasn't a pillar, it was just a tool to put them in our coaching club, in our mastermind. And then we had another pillar, like pillar number 3, which was our licensing program. Okay. And what I like teaching and think everybody should have is you got to stack these assets on top of each other or behind each other, kind of like a train, right? You got the engine or you got the engine over here, and then you got card number 1, card number 2, card number 3. And then the other question that started coming in, and every niche and every industry can apply what I'm about to share at some level, is the other question that started coming in was, well, the problem, and it always comes out of a complaint. It doesn't necessarily come as clearly in a question. Sometimes it just comes as a complaint, is my problem is my team's not that good on the phone, or my team's not that good at the front desk, or I need buy-in. And then one day a client of mine came in with one of their consultants who specialized in training the team. Well, after we chatted, talked, and we said, okay, let's test something together. It's a great way to do it. You just do like my mentor, Travis Saigo, likes to talk about doing dates, like with the partners rather than going all in. And so we just ran an event, and she was amazing with them, and they all loved it. And it solved a massive problem for them. And so whatever industry you're in, a question you could ask yourself is, how do you replace a big burden on their shoulders or a big plate they're spinning? And when I say spinning, usually busy, successful people have a lot of spinning plates, and removing it off removing something from their plates is worth more than just adding stuff. Okay. And that's a really important distinction. And so that business boomed. And the net profit of that business was about 45%. No, actually, I'm sorry, back up. I owned 50% of the company. Our net profit was literally around 86%. And so my take home on that was around 43, 44%, whatever that might be. And so the reason why we stack boom, boom, boom profit centers is that your profit centers, even if they're under the same umbrella, are going to have exponentially more profit attributed to it because the front engine is paying for those leads and customers. Which is why when Eric and I were just talking, if you can get a sponsor to pay for those leads, now you drop your lead costs and everything gets infinitely more profitable. Okay, so that's really, really important. Drew's asking, what is happening with high ticket marketing? I see so many marketers that are pivoting away from high ticket. I know a marketer who went from 3.7 million to 1 million. Yeah, I mean, the reality is, what we're seeing in our data is that, and just think about this logically, right? Because there was a period of time. This is my friend Dan Cashel. Dan Cashel was on our podcast last week. I'll be posting it. So the self plug. If you're not subscribed to our podcast, please subscribe to the Ed O'Keefe Show, whether it's on YouTube or whatever it might be. But Dan was on my show last week. Dan's awesome, right? And Dan would say that, and I would say that if you look at some of the most successful businesses of all time, people enter buying a $9 to $20 book, okay? Or they buy one transaction, right? And they could be the most expensive things in the world, but they'll sell this small micro thing and get people in. It's not that high ticket doesn't work. It's that in different times and economies, it's much easier to get buyers at a lower cost. And right now we're in one of those, right? I mean, unless you're living on a different planet, it's just there's more people that are willing to spend money, like as I said at the beginning of the show, to talk about, to learn more about them, right? So Dan would say, hey, it's just one of his 5 pillars. So low ticket, what you're seeing a lot too, Drew, just so you know, is that a lot of people just rely on only high ticket, that only the call funnel, only the challenge funnel, only the webinar funnel. Well, when those don't work as well in a linear perspective because the costs are increasing or conversion rates are decreasing, you're seeing people shift models. Now, what they should do before they completely shift the model is they should be adding a book funnel on the front end of it. They should add a micro event funnel on the front end of it. They should go on 30 to 40 podcasts in a 6-month period and see what that does to their overall call funnel stats. Because, so let me give a couple more ideas on that. They should be hosting their own YouTube channel. They should be putting more quality content out there that allows them to get more organic traffic, right? Because, I mean, I've experienced it. I experienced it in my supplement business. And, when we moved away, back in dentistry, even in some of these more expensive markets, you better be on multiple channels. Because where I'm going with it is like, say someone clicks on your ad, they go to your site and you're only selling high ticket. So maybe the only option they have is a book or call funnel. I don't know about you guys, but I'm almost never, I filled out like one book or call funnel in the last like 4 years. I'm a guy that I don't want to book a call. I want to learn more about it. Right. Because I know it's just a sales call. And I think most sophisticated markets are getting better and better and better at that. Okay. So then the question is like, well, then book a call funnels don't work at it. No, they still work. You just got to be utilizing a lot more propaganda or social edification so that when the person goes through your thing, they bounce. What do? They're going to go right to YouTube, type in your name. They're going to see if you have a show or not, if you're on other podcasts or not. And they're going to start consuming content. Does that make sense? And so if you look at, Google came out with this, it's becoming more and more popular. It's called 4711, right? 4 different platforms. So they see you on Facebook, they see you on IG, they see you on YouTube, They see you on Google, maybe they see you on X, maybe they see you on TikTok, maybe see you in email, direct mail. So you're in four different platforms. The more, the better, right? And then 7 hours of content. So what the data is showing is that if the people are going to make a decision, they are going to consume 7 hours of content on average before they make a decision, right? And I think 7 hours, 11 touch points, right? So they see retargeting. That's why you got to do all this. Now here's the thing on this, right? And so my little self plug today, guys, if you want to see how we're creating micro events to help get lower, to create as a low ticket, to get buyers into your funnel. Books are amazing. I'm a big fan of books. What we know about books is that no one consumes them, but they take longer to put together. And I know there's AI out there and there's a lot of things out there, whereas somebody can like decide to throw up a Zoom link or a Google Meet link or a thing on their Facebook feed today and follow very, very simple frameworks to start making money. So I show all that inside the micro event profit system. So you can check that out at offerwingman.com. The other thing we do have coming up, and then I'll go back to finishing my thought on the other thing that I want to finish my thought on is the math behind funnels, and that all funnels work. Not all markets are buying like they were though. So you really got to look at the cost structure of it. And I'll give you my prediction on where everything's moving for the next 3 months. And what you got to get really good at. And speaking of which, Event Mastery, offerwingman.com/event mastery. I'm hosting a 2-day event in Chicago, 30 people max. And we're going to be going over how to run your own event. In person is where it's structured. Like if you run a 2-day, a 3-day event in person, but also if you plan on running 3-day challenges, 1-day power workshops, we'll go into actually getting your signature story down, getting your offer dialed in, because most of you guys, your offer needs to improve, and you'll be around a bunch of other badasses and killers. So please join me for that if that fits you. There's a discount on it right now. There's a credit towards tuition. So just make sure you check that out. So that's at offerwingman.com/event mastery. So the thing about this though is if you look at Tony Robbins, if you look at Dean Graziosi, if you look at all those guys, they all like Tony Robbins became popular off his personal power book. And then he had infomercials, which is what am I doing right now, guys? We're using television, social media to gain audience. Right. And so my wife asked me a great question the other night. She goes, honey, do you, I love my wife. My wife is the best. She really is. Mom of 7, absolute killer. But she said to me, she goes, hey, is anyone watching? She's so cute. She goes, is anyone watching your videos? Because when I tuned in, there was like only right now, there's only 3 people I see on this channel. I have no idea how many are on Instagram, and I'm not worried about it. Okay, and let me explain why. Because she was cute. She's like, well, I don't know if anyone really cares to listen to what you're talking about. And I said, well, hun, I mean, like, here's how this stuff works, right? I don't care if they're there live when I'm going live. I mean, I like it. Like, for everybody here who's here, I appreciate you. But I'm building content that is going to live on my socials forever. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Like, I don't care. Because what's going to happen is we're now going to take the YouTube link, we're going to put in our autoresponders, we're going to send it out via text message, and we're going to keep building our 4, 7, and 11. So when that person gets into binge mode, I have the content that's relevant, it solves their problems, that they can binge watch. Does that make sense, everybody? Say yes, Ed, that makes sense. I know Drew's being my super fan here. I appreciate you, Drew. You're like, yes, absolutely. And he has a question too there, so I'm going to answer that one. But if you're out there, I want to address something here, guys. if you're out there and you're like, Ed, I want to be charging more, I want to be getting better clients, I want to be doing all these things, I just feel like a loser right now because I see guys down the street from me making more money from me, whether you're a lawyer, a dentist, a high ticket coach. Oh, but this guy's not as good of a psychologist. I mean, let me ask a question. Was Dr. Phil the best psychologist ever? I like Dr. Phil, by the way. I used to make fun of him all the time. And the answer is, I don't know if he was or he wasn't. I studied NLP and I studied hypnosis. So I met some pretty damn good change coaches: Michael Burnoff, Richard Bandler, Tony Robbins, John Lavelle. Barbara Stepp was my first trainer in NLP. I love her to death, right? They can make change happen. I learned from the best people out there, right? Michael Hodges is here. What's up, brother? Good to see you. So the thing about it, yeah, Dr. Phil sold weight loss books, but Dr. Phil became famous because of he got manufactured, because he got endorsed by the Oprah, right? Oprah made it happen, right? And so what I want to share with you on that, the reason I'm sharing that is because it's not Oprah's job. I used to have a goal when I was young. Oh, I'll be on the Oprah Winfrey show as a speaker, you know. It's not Oprah's job to come along, guys, and make you famous, right? It's not. She tried that with Biden. It didn't work, right? And if she can't make Biden famous, she can't make you famous. All my liberals, stop making fun of my. I won't make fun of Obama either. Sorry, guys. Don't get worked up. It's okay. You're still good people. Anyhow, so that's just things to think about, right? Things to think about. Your job is to manufacture it. So we already talked about it, right? Why do you run micro events? Well, because you can get paid to get paid. Let me address this point. Very important. There's a gal out there who runs a great coaching club, great mastermind. She's really good at it. Her superpower is probably networking and collaborating and curating people together, right? So now, whatever she's doing, and God bless her if she's hearing this, is Drew said, big fail with Kamala. Drew, you're canceling half the audience. But just kidding. If you get offended by that, you guys got some problems. It means it's probably why you're not putting out more content. But all of a sudden, I'm seeing reels about this person, like reels, like content in my feed that is about relationship stuff and her personal view about sexuality. And I'm like, I don't really give a freaking rat's ass. Like, it completely turned me off about what she's doing. Now, here's the thing. Good for her. She wants to do that. That's awesome for her. But what I want to share with you is that if you are in a spot, if you're not Joe Rogan, if you are not Daniel Priestley, if you're not like a big name with a big following, you have to remember, and this took me a little while to swallow, guys. Just you understand, like, this was hard for me to take. You need to create content that's going to attract your best buyer to buy. You need to, and so what that means is, this is good news and bad news. Good news and bad news. Who wants to hear the good news first? Well, I'll give you the bad news first. That means they don't care if you want to talk about Tom Brady and Deflategate and all that stuff if you're selling tax strategies. Does that make sense? Now, while you're solving problems in tax strategies, you can make jokes. Like, I'm making jokes about Oprah and Dr. Phil, and I'm weaving my personality and vibe into my content because I can't help it. That's what I do. And that's what you should do. Does that make sense? But what I'm saying is that the mistake so many influencers are making is or creators or people that want to get paid is they're leading with their personal hobbies and stuff like that first because it's easy to talk about. And what I always say to people is, imagine that your level 10 client walked in your door and they're telling you you're their biggest problem. That's what you answer right there. Boom. How do I, a client of mine, friend of mine, Jeff Hampton, his criminal law practice, he started just creating videos on YouTube about what are the problems that people have when they come into the law practice. It generated over $2 million of gross revenue into his criminal law practice. And I think it was just in a year, and it was over 200,000 in Google AdSense came off of it as well. Can you do the same thing in your niche? I can't promise that, but I can promise you that if your niche has problems, you can solve it. One of my really good friends just launched her own like volleyball training stuff, right? And I'm going to send this to her. And they're putting stuff out. And so what I would recommend her do is go do some basic keyword research using Google keyword. Like you just type into Google how to find out what people are asking, and then what's the dude's name? Like people ask. Let me just do this guy real quick. Like he's one of the best. He's one of the best. Do any of you know what I'm talking about? He's one of the best organic search engine marketers who now talks about content. But he created a tool like, what are people asking? Let me just put that in. But you could do this. Let me just show you this real quick. Like you could do this where I just go into Google. I'm gonna show you my screen in 1 second. Where we just go into Google and share screen. Oh, let me remove that. Add another screen. Oh shoot, here we go. Okay, share screen. Sorry guys, give me 3 seconds. And I'm just go to Google and it's gonna tell me the questions people are asking. Does that make sense? I'm gonna go to old Google here. I don't know if people even use, like, so like how to get clients for, and then look at that, like travel agency, cleaning business, home care agency, bookkeeping. So like if that's a great question. Like best way to, yeah, this is, so, okay, best garlic supplements for high blood pressure. Best, so I have a blood pressure supplement. So best supplement for, and then you just see it. Like, so if you're in the supplement business, now these are a little bit longer tail. But like if I was going to say, what is the best way to get patients? It's going to tell me, like, or you get all these things here. So anyhow, there's tools out there that are easier than that, right? And so anyhow, those are all like just simple little tools that you can use to find out, hey, what are people asking? What can I talk about? You can go into forums. You can do that, right? So that's, YouTube is just a monster. It's just a monster for lead generation moving into 2025 and in the fall, right? So the other thing I wanted to share was when people were coming up to me and asking, like, Ed, how do people fill events, right? And then so this is what inspired me to have this conversation today. So I ran an event called Traffic Mastery Live. What's it called? Traffic Mastery Live. And Traffic Mastery Live is an event, charged like $5,000 for people to be there. And I had the best media buyers. It's like 7 years ago. So this is it's a little outdated, but I'm going to post the entire seminar. I had Jesse Itzler there, Josh Alazeche. Josh, I think, has sold like a company for $80 million since then. And he's just doing amazing stuff. He was the founder of Snow Teeth Whitening. He spoke twice on my stage. Jesse spoke. Jesse, you guys all know who Jesse is. He's the guy who runs a lot. David Goggins slept in his house, all that fun stuff. We used to climb a lot of mountains together. He spoke there, great talk. There's a lot of great experts there. And I'm going to take the talks that are still relevant today, and I'm going to put it up for free on my YouTube channel, just on my channel. So if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, go over there. It's Ed O'Keefe Show. It's Ed O'Keefe Show. And I'm not the politician guy who is for CBS. Ignore that dude. I'm not the short guy. He's Italian. I'm the white guy, pink hat. I should put that on my thing. And really good looking. So that's where you head over there. So I'm gonna do that. But when everybody's been asking me how to fill events, it got me thinking. I'm like, man, with the micro event profit system we have coming out, would you like me to host a power day, which would be a one-day virtual event on traffic? and on filling those events. Would you like me? Just say yes if you like me, or put in traffic. I really appreciate it. And the reason I share this with you is I'm going to pull up my phone. I'm going to be looking at my phone here in a second, because I wanted you to see on my personal profile when I posted this. When I posted this, my thread on my personal profile got blown up. Okay. And I said, hey, I'm looking for 3 speakers that are in the trenches right now filling events. Okay. And what happened was inspiring for me. Like, what happened to me was pretty cool. And the reason why I shared that is because I got reconnected with 1, 2, 3, 4, probably about 8, 10, and they're still coming in. Like on my profile. Okay. Well, hey, okay, cool. Check this out. Blew my thing up. What does that tell me, guys? It tells me that's what people want to know more about. Okay. And so I was like, well, so today I'm having my coffee. I have my coffee from my old Bucky at the Star. And I'm like, you know what? We should just run another. We're gonna revitalize Traffic Mastery Live. Going to revitalize Traffic Mastery Live. So the website, you can't go to it yet because it's not fully live. It'll be live by tomorrow. I promise you that. And I was thinking about doing one of 2 things. So you can tell me what you want to do. Tell me what you think on this. What I was going to do was for speed and implementation for you, for speed and implementation and experience for you. I think in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to host just a $97 6-hour virtual live. 6-hour virtual live where I vet all these guys that are coming to me. I'll tell you about a story of one of the guys. Francis is his name. I'm not going to tell you his last name because I want to keep the suspense up. And if you think you know who it is, you could put it in there. But he was amazing. So this is what he wrote to me last night when we were talking. He said, Ed, we completely, there's my buddy, we completely have virtual events dialed in, okay? Do you have a link to a 6-hour event? Not, Drew, not yet. I'm asking the audience, is it something that you'd want me to put on Traffic Mastery Live for 2025 this summer? Like, it's right now. Like, what in the heck is working in June, July, and August? Right now it's June, but we go July and August. But I want to read you this story because it's really powerful, guys. As he says, we were literally, when COVID happened, they were running events and masterminds. We were literally, what do you say? Okay. We were running 8-figure sales using virtual events and then to live events. And he shared some other stuff about him doing it. The live events died instantly. We had a staff of 60. And there's a few other things here I'm not going to share because it was personal. But they lost $300,000 in refunds to their live event, plus over several $100,000 in deposits, because running live events, Drew, I'm going to get you a link by the end of the day. You'll be my first buyer. It's going to be $97, guys, but we're going to be bringing the thunder. I guarantee everything that we do. 100% money back guarantee, gun to the head. If it's a waste of time, you think I suck, you think they suck, whatever it might be, you just email us, we refund you. We don't even ask questions on our information and stuff like that. If we're providing services or days of consulting, we don't offer refunds on that because we only work with winners when we do that. And there's enough losers out there that we want to keep away. So keep away those people. But they literally they had a in his words, scrape, crawl, and bleed to get back. So if you're ever in a down and out spot and you're like, we got to make it back. I'm just telling you, virtual events, speed to your leads, speed to your clients, speed to dialing your message, speed to getting feedback from your audience. I'm getting feedback from the audience today, fellas. I'm just letting you know, this does not cost me anything to put on. Okay, I use StreamYard as my tool, and we go boom, we live it up. We go live, And then I get to engage with the audience. You could be doing the same thing as well. That's why I created Micro Event Profits, $27. You're going to get some of my best stuff. Okay. But today we're trying to figure out, do you want Traffic Mastery Live? And I got one buyer. So that tells me, yes, we're going, right? Drew asked, can we ask questions at the live event? Yeah, or you can ask questions live event. I may have to, that's a great question. So when I launch it, Drew, just to kind of give everybody a little tip behind the scenes of running virtual events, the $97 will probably allow you to ask questions. Or if that sells out rapidly, I'll probably increase it to like $197 and you can ask questions. You'll get to ask questions because you're asking the question now. And then you could do you could even do free, or you could do a $47 or $27 price point, and they just get to be view it as well, right? But they can't ask questions. They can't get the consulting or the coaching, right? So, so that's going to be coming out. And I think what's really powerful about that is because I know, guys, and I'll go through the listing, right? When I go through this stuff, I have friends right now that are selling $1,500 all the way up to $7,500 offers that they make sales daily from their organic YouTube channel. They don't do any paid advertising. Should they? Yeah, they should be taking some of their organic profits and starting their retargeting on Facebook and Instagram. Okay. They should possibly be testing some other stuff to make sure they're not fully reliant on that. But then again, maybe they should start another YouTube channel, right? Maybe they just instead of doing that, quadruple down on that. Maybe they should be taking it and taking those profits and that proven offer and going to getting joint venture partners or going to other social profiles that have similar comparable brands and getting them to endorse it for them as well. So there's a lot of options, but the pillar of one is always a dangerous one. I have friends doing local events around the country and making money. So I'm texting one more traffic guy. If you guys want to me to do it. If he can't do it, I'm going to be wrapping this up in about 5, but stick with me for the next 5. I have a guy that is doing just local events, 8-figure business. Local events selling stuff. Oh yeah, he's going to be on in 5 minutes. So we're going to stay live. So, hey guys, really quick announcement. I have the one and only Kurt Malley coming on in 5 minutes. And he's coming on live in 5 minutes. I'm posting live in 5 minutes. And then Drew, I'll answer a few more questions. I'm becoming like a mini Gary Vee here, guys. I'm becoming a mini Gary Vee. Gary Vee is actually, I'll tell you something. I didn't like Gary at first. I'll be honest with you. Like Gary drove me a little crazy about 15 years ago. 15 years ago, I felt Gary was, I just didn't like the energy. But then again, guys, I look at who I was 15 years ago and at different phases of my life, and I don't like my energy. Like, I think, I had my best of intentions, but at times, I was kind of a moron, right? It's kind of a moron at times, right? And so what I want to share with you is that, he's probably one of the most encouraging people right now to entrepreneurs who are out there hustling and are out there trying to figure it all out. And there it is. Boom, pop that out. He's probably one of the most encouraging people right now to entrepreneurs that are out there trying to figure it all out, right? And so, hey guys, on Instagram, you guys got to come over to YouTube, and I might see if I can wrap this up on these other channels. If you're on Facebook right now, head over to YouTube. If you're on Instagram, head over to YouTube. If you're on X, head over to YouTube. LinkedIn, head over to YouTube, Ed O'Keefe Show. I'll put the link in the comments for a second, but I want all my people following, come over to YouTube if you can, because that's where I'm going to interview Kurt. It's going to be really, really powerful. He's one of the brightest dudes going, and I just can't. I think it's awesome. Boom, we're removing it. So guys, buy on Facebook. Buy on Facebook. Boom. Let me see here. We're going to say goodbye to my friends over. Oh, you know what? Yeah, we're going to say goodbye to everybody. So come on over to YouTube if you can be over on YouTube, and we'll go from there, okay? We're going to go from there. Kurt Malley's going to be coming on here in a second. Kurt's one of the brightest guys you'll ever know, and it's pretty awesome, right? So anyhow, where was I at, Drew? Where was I at? What was I talking about? Every time at the live event. Oh, Gary Vee. So Gary Vee, though, I think you got to watch Gary Vee's stuff, because what he's doing that's brilliant is he's really being supportive of people that are trying to figure out where they need to be. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not hard. It's not easy being in business, right? Let alone being in business in hard economic times when you don't know who to trust. Does that make sense? It's very difficult when that happens. And when you see guys like Gary Vee, you got to give him props, because he's telling people to post daily. Now, are there distinctions in there? I'm sure there are. Should you rely only on social posting? No. However, his point on that I think is brilliant is that, you can go live every single day on TikTok, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, and the people that like your vibe and like you are going to start following you, and they're going to start becoming your 1,000 fans or 10 fans. You only need a handful of fans to really start making, getting the feedback that you want and growing the business that you want. Does that make sense? And so he's really big into social selling right now. Like, I mean, if I had unlimited time and I was starting out, like my kids, I tell them, like, look, you should be learning how to sell stuff online. Whether it's, you know what, I'm going to add to our virtual event stuff. I'm going to see if I can find any good modules I can get from somebody who knows how to sell on TikTok, and see if we can put that into the micro event sales system. Because the one and only, I prepped the whole audience. I told him he was coming. I said, hey man, his hair is better than ever, longer than ever, and we're not messing around, people. The Kurt Malley Meister just popped it up.
Woo! Good to see you, sir. How are you?
Hey, dude, I just launched a new program called Micro Event Profits.
Oh, that's great.
$27, because I said to people, I did a free webinar about how to start your mastermind. Like how to, like just the structure of how to start it and launch it. And I was like, you should run an event. Number one question I had, which has inspired me to reach out to you today, was, yeah, Ed, but I don't have an audience.
You should work on that then.
You should work on that then. But I also call BS, because I said, if you pull out your phone and you look at all your Instagram people and you look at all your Facebook people and you look at any buyers or leads or anybody who would be your ideal buyer, everybody, and you spent 2 hours doing that, you could easily come up with a list of 100 to 200 people
that you could reach out to. Absolutely.
And you host a micro event.
Yep.
And you could do that in less than 2 hours. Like if you're like, shit, I'm going to launch this thing and I'm going to do it. I could be live and up and running. And now I have content to give to implement the media buying, low budget, micro strategies you're about to teach everybody. So you see how that segue was just beautiful?
Love that.
So
yes,
Kurt,
sir.
Do you mind sharing with everybody? We are an hour and a half in.
Telethon. Like telethon style.
Well, Eric Carlson jumped on for about 15 to 20 minutes, share what's working in his world. And Ron Lynch is going to jump on next week, and we have some other people. Great. But I was like, Kurt's always up for a good time. So why don't you share with everybody what you're up to, what you're known for, And most importantly, what is working now for lead generation and customer acquisition? And right now, what's working right now?
Yeah, I've been running Facebook ads for about 18 years, as long as Facebook ads have pretty much been around. Gotten kicked off of Facebook, one of the 100th person to ever get a cease and desist from Facebook. So I know where lots of bodies are hidden, and obviously everything's working out now. I just got to ask you a favor, Ed. I noticed this when I woke up this morning.
Before I do that, what is the website I should send people to?
Yourad.coach, and they can check out micro budget mastery and everything else. Yourad.coach.
All right, so I want to pick out my people who are kind enough to show up on a moment's notice.
Happy to help.
Am I good?
Yeah, you're right. That's it. Pretty easy. You can find out more about me. The only favor I got to ask is, like I said, is I woke up this morning and saw that I got a Rudolph pimple on my nose. So just don't stare at the pimple. That's the only thing I'm going to ask you. Just don't stare at that red dot, right? Also, people know me for this belt over here because we have helped U.S. presidential candidates. We've run ads for Russell Brunson when he first started this thing called ClickFunnels that some of you guys have heard of. Lead Pages, we ran ads for them before that. Evan Pagan, Mike Dillard, Frank Kern, Ryan Dice. We work with all these different types of people over the 18 years I've been doing this. So I run ads for digital products, authors, physical products. We've worked with lots of people who have been on Shark Tank, for example. Ed's referred me some really great people over in the health and wellness space. Some of the I like to run ads, and Ed knows who this is, for like an 800-pound gorilla in certain industries that we just absolutely just crush it for. So all that's fun and easy. I'll tell you what's working right now, and it's been working for us for years, is actually the first thing we've been doing for over 15 years that works on a regular basis, posting content on Facebook on a regular basis. I don't do organic content. Post content on a regular basis. And then your most valuable content, your most perceived content, we like to boost those posts for like $1 or $2 a day. And what we do is something called ethical propaganda. So we post a bunch of content, find out which content works best, hit the promote button, and we literally promote it for just a couple of dollars a day, and we just let that thing run. So we start stacking relevant posts over and over and over. And what ends up happening is Facebook's going to find the right person at the right time. So if we use a lower budget with really well-received content, this content can run perpetually. So like when I go speak on stage, like Ed, you've had me speak at your events, which I love. Thank you. When I speak at your events, people are like, well, what page do you opt into? You can just go check out my Facebook profile, my Instagram profile. You can go to yourad.coach. But once you click on one of my pieces of content, you're going to constantly see other content from me, which is always going to keep me top of mind. So I'll tell you, I mean, there's a couple things I'll be happy to chat with you about. But the first thing is low budget content for $1 to $2 to $3 a day, your best content. We've been running this low budget content. We call it the $1 a day strategy. We've been using this for strategy for 11 years. I learned it from someone by the name of Dennis Yu. I always give him credit for it. I'm like, how could you spend $1 a day? It makes no sense. Man, you get 20 or 30 posts running consistently. Right. You do this. It rocks. It absolutely rocks.
Can I just jump in real quick? So listen, everybody watching this right now, like you have no excuse. You have no excuse. And here's what I mean. Like I teach when I have people come in, we're like, hey, who's your best buyer? Number one thing we do, because we want to orchestrate everything off your most profitable buyer first. We do our messaging on that. We work backwards from there. But one of the things I want to share with you is that you could literally, Eric brought this up, you can go on LinkedIn, get what's our minimum number of names we need matched in order to run a traffic or to run a
over 1,000, typically over 1,000.
Okay, so between my scraped list and my Facebook friends, I can come up with a small little audience, past clients, past customers, JVs, whatever it might be, whoever you want to make an impact on. You literally can have your best content, your best testimonial in front of 1,000 people every single day for literally $10 total, right? Like if you do a video campaign or engagement campaign or impression
Absolutely.
campaign. So I'll leave the types up to you, but literally this is what you call ethical propaganda, correct? Because we're manufacturing what we want people to be perceiving us ads. Continue, sir.
Yeah, the other thing that we've been using for the last really 4 or 5 years, and we've released this to the public over the last year, is something called micro budgets, where the whole claim is, which is true, it's not even a claim, but we can take $20 to $30 a day in ad spend, and very quickly within 2 to 3 days, understand if your ad's working or not. I can, over 5 to 7 days, I can tell you if your landing page and offer is working. So like I was just on the phone with this Meta rep, which by the way, like I said, I've been running ads for 18 years. Most of these Meta reps are reading off of a script. They've never run a marketing ad. And then here's my favorite. I hear people say this all the time, but my Meta rep said, stop. Before your Meta rep said anything, did your Meta rep ask you a bunch of questions about your business and goals? Or did they just start telling you and how you can fix your ads? Because if they're just telling you how to fix your ads, it's like walking into the pit boss of the casino and you're just like, hey man, where should I spend my money? And he's like, oh, easy, penny slots. It's the worst payout, but you're going to have a long time sitting there for a really long, you're going to have a great time sitting there for a long time. So one of the things I was talking to this Facebook rep the other day, they're like, okay, Kurt, I need you to spend $100 a day on a campaign for the next 2 weeks. And we're going to do an A/B split test. That's where you really know what your numbers are. And I told him, I go, you lying to people. It only takes you 2 to 3 days to figure out if your ads are working. And you don't have to spend $100 a day for 2 weeks. You're literally lying to people because I can spend $60 and tell you if your ad's working or not. And they're like, that's not true. Let me show you how this is true. What happens is you can use these low budget spends targeting very specific people. Facebook wants to find the right person at the right time with the right ad because Facebook wants you to have relevant content. So if you spend $20 a day, I like to tell people this, it's like digging a small little oil well. I want to dig lots of oil wells to see where I struck oil. Now, if you have ever run any Facebook ads, you will know that you will see fluctuating performance, number one, right? Number two, you can run the exact same ad to the exact same audience 5 different times and have 5 completely different results, right? And have you ever ran the same campaign to the same audience with the same creative and seen the exact same results every single time you run the ad? No. People are like, it's not logical. Well, that's because every time that you start an ad, Facebook looks in their crystal ball and Facebook starts to figure out, who do I think we should show this ad to? It's not the same people every time you start a campaign. So if I start 5 micro budget ad campaigns for $10 a day each, Ed, what I'm going to be able to tell in 2.5 days, what is my click-through rate of my ads? How much does it cost to have people click on my ads? Because if you're getting, and I'm making this up, after 2 days, if you're seeing $10 website clicks, that's just not going to work for your business. You can start getting early KPIs in 48 hours. KPIs will not get much better than maybe 10%. So if you're getting $10 so let's say, again, I'm running 5 campaigns. Let's say this campaign, I'm getting clicks to my website for $10. But let's say clicks to my website on the other 4 ads are $2. I don't need to spend $100 to know that $10 a click isn't going to work. I should turn this off right away.
Yeah.
Right? If you really know your numbers, it's kind of like financial investing. If you really know your numbers, you only need 2.5 days to gather a little bit of data, make a decision. You don't need to dig one big oil well and hope that's going to strike. I dig, 5 different holes at once, and the ones that are working the best, I double down on.
Yeah. Now, are you when you run that? I mean, just to get a little tactical is, so if I was just launching, say like my micro events, $27, we're launching this out. Like I would imagine Russell Brunson's niche would be, or interest level, my warm audience, Annex and Gall, maybe you tested Tony Robbins. I'm just making these up. But are you looking at separating like 3 ads per campaign, 5 ad sets? Yeah.
So let's just say you record a video let's say you record a video talking about your micro budget events or your micro events, right? So you record one video, let's say it's 2 minutes long. We find some of our best videos are 60 to 90 seconds long. And basically we're looking to pre-qualify people, right? Here's what my event's about. Here's what I'm about. So let's just say now we want to go ahead and sell your $27 event. I'm going to take your one ad and I'm going to run it to your middle of funnel audience, retargeting people in the last 90 days who have seen your content, right? So if nothing else, set up your pixels on your website. Always have an audience you can collect to retarget. But the first ad I'm going to create, let's just say I'm just going to make up a number, $20 a day. I'm going to run that first ad, that first creative for $20 a day to your middle of funnel audience. That's one campaign. I call it a 1-1-1. One campaign, one ad set with your audience, one ad creative.
Yeah, I love
That's it.
it.
Okay. Now we got that one ad up. You just dug one small hole, one small oil well, but you don't know if that oil well is going to perform, because really what we're looking at is three things when we look at your ad, when we look at your overall ad strategy. Do I need to target the right type of people? Am I targeting the right type of audience? And are people engaging in my ad? Number one, that's what I can control. Number two, what I'm looking at is when people land on my landing page, are they actually clicking through and buying the offer? Is the offer actually working? So I need to determine in a quick amount of time, do I need to change my audience and my ads? Do I need to change my landing page, or do I need to change my offer? If I launch one campaign, I don't know what exactly that I'm going to get. I need a comparable, right? It's kind of like dating. How do you know what you get until you go on to 5 or 6 different dates? Not with the same person, but with different people to realize what you like and what you don't like. So Ed, I'm going to take your one ad. I'm going to run it in middle of funnel as a 1-1-1. Then I'm also going to duplicate that ad 4 times to target 4 different top of funnel audiences that you believe you want to target. So maybe Ed, for you, maybe you want to target some e-commerce people. Maybe you want to target Frank Kern's audience. Maybe you want to target Tony Robbins. Maybe you want to target entrepreneurs. Great. So we're going to do 4 different targetings. By the way, I use AI a lot to do cohort research. So for example, who are the type of people, like I have AI ask, who are the type of people that like to do events and what kind of business? Oh, dentistry. Great. Who are the top authors for dentists in marketing? Maybe I can target authors on Facebook. Maybe I can target books on Facebook, like Stephen King. Stephen King's not going to write a business book. So when you find people who write business books on e-commerce, that's usually what they're going to write all their books about. These are called cohorts, right? So I'm going to find for you, Ed, 4 different cohorts that are going to work with your audience.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be launching 5 campaigns at $20 a day each, the same exact ad to 5 different audiences. So we're going to spend $100 a day, and I'm going to talk about stats in a minute, but I'm going to stop right here. So we're going to dig 5 small holes of oil, right? We're looking for those oil wells at $20 a piece, 1 middle of funnel audience, 4 top of funnel audiences. Do you have any questions so far?
No.
Oh, Derek's on here. This is great. He's in Austin too.
Yeah. What's up, Derek?
Great. Here we go. I run into him out at Greg Overidge's place. Greg Overidge.
Well, one of the reasons why you're, just so everybody knows,
not Greg Overidge.
Like Kurt has a more complex way of teaching this, but the 1-1-1 strategy is just a very simple. Anyone can do it. It's not complicated, and it's going to give you data. And I'd also probably say that the reason why you run it to your middle of funnel is you're probably going to get some sales right out of the gate. It's going to be your most profitable audience.
It's the safest place to run your ad. So you want to, before you launch off 5 ads, you want to launch 1 ad, make sure it gets approved. And you don't know how well that ad's going to do, but if you show that to your friends and family, start that 1 ad middle of funnel of people who already know you.
That's right. Like, and if people who already know you and people that have already bought from you have 0 interest, that's an indication of success. You know.
Exactly. So now what's going to happen is I'm going to have 5 campaigns running. Within 2.5 days, I can easily tell across 5 campaigns what's the average click-through rate.
Yeah. What's
the average link click? What's that old song they used to play on Sesame Street all the time? If one thing doesn't look like the other, what was that? How they would always basically have like what doesn't fit. So again, if I'm looking at my ad click-through rate for all my ads is 2%, but there's 1 ad that I'm getting a 0.5% click-through rate, but these other ones have a good click-through rate. Right. I don't need to wait for days. I don't have a good oil well, turn it off.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Love it.
So here's what I basically do is if I have 5 of those ads for you, I'm looking at 3 spots. My audience, am I targeting? My creative, what's my click-through rate? Are people landing on my landing page? What are they doing? And then is my offer working overall? So if I have 5 campaigns with one ad and I test a second ad, now I have 10 different campaigns running. There goes my balloons. I don't know. Right?
I don't even know.
Now
I don't even know what they're doing nowadays. Yeah, this is so funny.
Now what you can do is if I have 2 different ads running, but I have them running in 10 different campaigns, I can easily start to see, because I've dug 10 different oil wells, what are my consistent numbers? What numbers are standing out? Yeah. And once you know your numbers, you know exactly what to start working on next. I don't need to spend $2,000 to figure it out.
I know we're just getting more viewers on right now. If you have a question for me or Kurt, go ahead and please comment. Helps the algorithm, or just say awesome sauce or something crazy awesome like that, because we appreciate you coming on. I know. And then we got more people coming on. YouTube tells more people to keep coming here when you get people watching and commenting. So I appreciate you. Okay, so what's next, man?
So basically what I like to do is I set up multiple campaigns. So just if you had the ability, let's just say you had $300 that you were going to spend because you wanted to find out numbers, right? Yeah. You couldn't spend $300 on a business idea, setting up a new business. Like, all that stuff costs a ton of money. So just imagine going out and digging for oil. Do you want to spend $1,000 digging straight down as far as possible? Or would you rather spread it out as much as possible to kind of figure out what's working and what's not? This is what I love about micro budgets, right? I want to diversify and spread out my risk as much as possible. And then every 2.5 days, I have a whole course on this, but I could easily kind of teach you some of the concepts here. Every 2.5 days.
We're going to have you out, Kurt. I'll tell you about it when everyone's done, but we're going to have you as part of the Traffic Mastery Live Day. We're going to do a virtual,
that'd be great.
We're going to do a virtual event. Yeah, so can't wait.
That's great.
Keep going.
Yeah, because basically what ends up happening is I want to spread out my risk overall. So now what starts to happen, instead of me being dependent on drilling one campaign, one large budget, if I have lots of different campaigns set up, I can easily start to see, once you know your numbers, I can easily start to see, what do I need to work on next? And that's the biggest problem that I see most people have. They'll spend $200 in one campaign. There's the cheesy thumbs up. They'll spend $200 in one campaign, and then I'll ask them, what worked? They're like, I have no idea. Okay, what didn't work? I don't know. But if I have 10 campaigns running simultaneously, I can easily start to see what are the common numbers that are coming across in my campaigns for, again, I'll say it again, my audience and my creative, people landing on my page or moving to the next page.
Yeah, gives you a nice baseline. So now
because you're looking at one thing, you're looking at 10 things.
Yeah, I love it. Awesome. Well, this isn't meant to be a long training today, but what is like one or two other tips that you want to give people as far as where do you scale from there? And then are you seeing anything across like different markets? Because I asked this earlier to Eric, like different markets that are working really well, you encourage people to go deeper into. Maybe there's some markets that are just the demand's not there right now. You're just seeing costs skyrocket.
It really comes down to relevant content. That's really what it comes down to, right? Like I'm running some ads right now where the CPM today is $250. So what that means is just to place an ad, it's going to cost $250 to show that ad to 1,000 people. In some markets, like when we first got started, it was $10 to $15 to reach 1,000 people.
Wow.
So crazy. What makes you different? So one of the things I've been playing with is VO3, Google Flow, where I can basically create commercials, like literally commercials that are 8 seconds long, that I stitch 2 or 3 of these 8-second long bits or scenes together. And it literally looks like I have a spokesperson on a stage for like selling a car. Really? It's not even glitchy like some of the AI stuff. And it's only been out for a week, just that one thing right there. So for example, we're making ads right now with, if you remember, Ed, I remember this when I was a kid. You remember Micro Machines? They hired the world's fastest talking man, and he would sell these Micro Machines. They were small little cars that you used to play with. They were really big in the early 90s, really big. So we kind of took that same concept and we said, hey, we want someone who talks really fast to talk about micro budgets and with these micro dollars and these micro people running around And all of a sudden, AI creates this spokesperson that runs out with sparklers, dollar bills flying out from him, saying, "Here's how we do these. Here's how we do these micro budget ads." It's such a unique video. The click-through rate on it is absolutely just ridiculous. So we're using a lot more AI to create content because it's a lot more, what's the best way to say it? It's not clickbaity, but it unequivocally gets people to stop the scroll and watch because these are radically different and radically unique images. So we're using AI a lot to drive down costs.
Yeah, that's interesting you're saying this, because my question then is, one is, this is why I'm telling people they should go back to running micro events or live in-person events, because I think people are going to get really accustomed to like stuff that used to be like actors or whatever are now AI, but they're still going to crave connection and relationship. And they're still going to need, even if like, because guys, listen to me, man, I get it. Like, even if I could go to ChatGPT and ask the best consulting ChatGPT bot what I should do in my business, human nature is still going to want an external mentor or person that allows them to make, to think through things and gives them context and wisdom in a tribe. We're never going to lose that. So, Kurt, what I was talking earlier for everybody was the best thing I ever did when growing my masterminds was get them in a room.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that they can experience me, demo the mastermind. They naturally ascend. So anyhow, I just want to share that because that's the other reason why you got to get better at this. And your kids, man, our kids are going to be in a tough spot where if you don't have them learn how to communicate and sell and get good at this stuff, they're definitely not going to be able to know how to write and sell. But they're going to be superpowers in the future. So VO3, huh? That's pretty amazing. AI. So
love that.
Yeah. Maybe that's what I'll have you talk about, micro budgets and AI for the traffic day.
Oh, so here's the thing is Ed, I'm going to show you full open kimono. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Open kimono. Ed, over the years, I've read a ton of marketing books, a ton. I've learned hooks. I've learned copy. I've learned creative. I would like to show you my entire marketing bookshelf. You see all those books on there, Ed? You see all those marketing books, right? I don't have any marketing books. I get kind of lucky with my marketing. I've been getting lucky with my marketing for 18 years. But now with AI, I can look up my exact avatar. I can figure out what their emotional triggers are. I can write an offer. I can figure out who would like to best see that offer. I can create a focus group with AI to give me feedback. I can now write copy that's very specific to the avatar, that ties in with the offer, that ties in with the audience, that helps me get a 2.5% click-through rate. I can have AI help me structure out the presentation. So before, for the last 15 years, I didn't build landing pages, email follow-up offers. I would consult on that. But it takes so much effort to build it. Now I hit 6 buttons and 5 minutes later, I have all the results that I want. So, our ad results are just becoming astronomically amazing. The clients are happy. They don't leave because we can do audience research. We can figure out the emotional triggers. We can write the copy. We can give suggestions on the landing page and offer. Yeah. We're using AI in so many different ways to connect with more humans. Again, it has done me a lot better than all the books on my shelf. Oh my goodness, this AI stuff has just crushed it.
Yeah, that's so good. So good. So good. So hey, everybody, you can check out my main man, Kurt, at yourad.coach. So Kurt, I don't know if, did I tell you why I did this like live today? When I brought up that people should be running events, whether it's virtual or in person, they just need to be. We have local businesses doing live events, killing it. You're starting to see some of the old niches guys are doing the road shows, killing it. There's a reason when you start seeing guys on the road doing one-day seminars, it's because people are showing up and they're buying. They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that if it didn't work. What else do I want to say? Oh, and then virtual events. I was talking to our buddy Francis. Don't say his last name.
Yeah.
But I hooked. I put earlier, everybody, that Francis is going to be speaking at the virtual Power Day.
He's brilliant. He puts thousands of people in online events every single week.
Yeah.
Thousands. It's brilliant.
Brilliant. So he's going to be on. To give him a lot of credit, I'm like, dude, are you sure you even want to share what you're doing? Because he's doing so many great things, and he's
really smart.
It's going to help a lot of people. It's going to help a lot of people. And fact of the matter is, the world's abundant. There's no way you can knock off Kurt. You can't knock off me. Your vibe, your tribe's going to pick up your vibe. I always find that like, oh, well, he's running the same ads I'm running. Yeah, but you're a white dude that's 49. She's 32 female or 70. Like, trust me, dude. There's people with the same offers that we have as far as helping people create and craft an offer. But she's female. Eileen Wilder. Brilliant. Nothing but great things to say. You go on her challenge, and it's 90% women in around her age demographic. You go look at Myron Golden, who I love Myron. He's my virtual mentor. He's a black guy. 70% of his audience are black, right? Well, guess what? My audience is not going to be 70% black. Why? Because I'm a 49-year-old white dude on the south side of Chicago. You know, I mean, I don't know, because it just is what it is, right? So but Francis, he's going to come speak at the virtual event, and I know you are, and I had like 4 other guys jump up. So, well, the reason why I bring this up, brother, is because when I started teaching, you got to do something, right? Like an event. First question is, do you know what the first question was? How do I feel it? How do I feel?
Yeah.
So
start talking about it.
We're going to do a full day on what is working in traffic. The best event I ever ran was a 2-part Traffic Mastery Live and Influencer Mastery Live. Kurt spoke at those. I'm going to post all those videos, brother, for free on YouTube in one 8-hour stream, so people can pick and choose what's working, what's not working.
That's great.
But man, I appreciate you coming on today. Do you have any last thoughts before we wrap this up, buddy?
No, I got to run to a call here real quick. Other than that, like you can take small little micro budgets and start testing it at any time. It's really pretty easy. And at the end of the day, honestly, Ed, most people just don't know their own numbers, so they don't know what to fix next. What my goal is with micro budgets to teach people their numbers. For me, I'm like a kid at Christmas. Once I know my numbers, every single morning I wake up to a brand new day. I want to look at my numbers, know what buttons to hit next. So you can literally turn on the legal money printing machine. So in my opinion, if you're struggling with an audience, learn some micro budgets, learn how to do some light testing, learn your numbers. And I can take these $10 a day ads that over the next couple of months turn into $500, $700 a day freight trains that just keep on chugging, keep on working, and keep on producing. So love to help anybody out. Just look me up, and I gotta run to another call, sir.
All right. You're the best, brother. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Have a great day. Thanks, Ed.
Bye. All right. So, hey, everybody, real quick, I had a couple thoughts I wanted to jump in on. Number one is, in the beginning, we talked about, I think Drew was asking the idea of our high ticket funnels dead, or, our low, whatever. The thing about it is that if you don't have third-party edification, so people could, as Derek just brought up, people can get to know you better, right? People can internally validate that they should trust you to solve their problem. And the more content they consume of you, the more clarity they become that they're on the right path, that they can validate the decision, right? They can validate the decision. And we had said earlier, the 4-7-11, 7 hours is what Google, not me, not Ed O'Keefe, Google is saying is the number of hours that when people make big decisions, they consume the content. I don't know about you, but I listen to YouTube every day. That's where I go for my podcast. It's where I go for my shows. It's where I go for my research. It's where I go for everything. And so when we do our Power Day, by the way, when we do our Power Day, so if you don't, you can go to offerwingman.com and you'll be in my retargeting pixel. I don't think I have anything free to sign up for yet. Here, let me see if I got anything free for you guys. I have this happening right now, the Offer Wingman Micro Event Profits Mastery, just $27. But here's what I want to share with you. Like or subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to be, once I'm done with this live, I'm going to get some food, and I'm going to come back and bang out a 2-page sales letter. It's going to be $97 for the Traffic Mastery Live Power Day. It's going to be virtual. The quality of people that I'm going to bring to you is out of control, amazing. And I'm going to do my best to cover. I'm going to cover how people are using Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube Organic, and cold reach outs. Now, when I think of cold reach outs, by the way, like DMs, I'm not talking about you like DMing people on that's annoying. But we have a market that we run email. Email is one of the best things you could ever use to acquire leads and acquire customers, because people read email. And it's not as high as it was. Obviously, you want to get text messages, but there's just laws and stuff around text messaging. And then we may have a little bit about direct mail as well. We may have a little bit about that, but direct mail may be more for like an in-person event. We'll sort of do a separate thing on direct mail. But hey, I appreciate you. Make sure you you let me know what's here. I'm going to tag you if you don't have a mastermind yet. I'm going to tag the next video is going to be how to start your mastermind and how to grow your tribe. Now, here's what's super important. It doesn't matter what business you're in. If you don't start structuring your own little way that people can engage with you more, spend more money with you. Like if I was an agency, I'd start a mastermind yesterday. If I was a service business of any kind, I'd start a mastermind today. The reason is because if your agency is going to see a lifespan it's not going to outlive itself, right? Because of just how quickly AI is taking over some of the agencies out there, but you have clients and customers. Ask yourself, what is it that they would want to be around other like-minded people about? And you just need to be the thought leader, the center of the curator of it. And we could teach you how to sell it. We got event mastery coming up. offerwingman.com/event mastery, where I'm actually going to be teaching how to sell from stage, whether it's virtual or in person. It's going to be a little more, it's going to be it's in person, it's in Chicago, it's in depth, and it's going to be how do we take your offer, make it amazing, and then how do we structure your event, whether it's a 1-day or a 5-day, or it's in person for 3 to 4 days, or a 3-hour one. Like right now, I did literally a micro event. I didn't plan on it when I woke up this morning, and I guarantee you we're going to make sales from this, but that wasn't the point of doing this. The point of it was I got feedback from clients yesterday asking the question, well, how do I fill the event? I posted something on social saying, hey, I'm looking for a couple speakers that are a couple of traffic people that specialize in events. I got bombarded by people. So then this morning I woke up, or last night I pinged a few people, right? I pinged a few people and I said, hey, would you be interested in speaking at my live event? All of them said yes. All of them. And the stories are amazing. What they're doing is amazing. There's people murdering it right now. Like not I'm not talking about Chicago, even though I live here. It's probably a bad joke. There's people killing it right now. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. There's people doing amazing things right now that we don't hear about because they're not outside bragging about that. Where I am telling you, 85% of businesses right now are scrambling for leads, traffic, clarity, funnel, process. And so my goal is to be a leader on your behalf and bring my network together. Because today I reached out to 5 people. 2 people were able to jump on. The other 3 said yes, but I can't today because I'm busy. I'm doing stuff. They're all wizards. They're all amazing people. And I thought to myself, I was like, you know what? Why am I not doing this every single Friday? It's super fun. I'm energized. This is way more fun than me sitting behind my computer typing. So if you liked it, help my confidence by saying that this was awesome. Bring on more people. And if you have someone you want me to bring on or a topic you want me to bring on, I'll do my best to bring them onto the show. And make sure you subscribe on YouTube because that's where I'm pushing all the traffic to, on YouTube. So that's it, guys. Appreciate you. Thanks for the encouragement. Thanks for the feedback. Thanks for attending. If you can't make them, thanks for watching. We have the How to Start Your Own Mastermind. If the other video that's really awesome on my YouTube channel is Money's Attracted to Speed. I show a clip of one of my favorite mentors, and it's pretty fun stuff. So appreciate you, and have an amazing weekend. And yeah, get after it. Peace out, everybody. Bye.